Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be teaching you on how to draft a basic skirt block. So if you want to draft a basic, you want to cut and sew a basic skirt, you have to get the following measurements. The first one is your waist measurement, the second one is the hip measurement, and the third one is your skirt length. You have to get the skirt length. So for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using 30 inches as my 30 inches as my waist measurement, as you can see, and for the hip measurement I'll use 36 inches, and for the skirt length I'll be using 20 inches as my skirt length. So you have to have the skirt length. So this end here will be serving as a waist, the skirt waist. So I told you I'll be using 20 inches as my skirt length. So this is 20 inches here. So I'll be adding 2 inches as the hemming allowance. I'll add 2 inches for the hemming allowance. So this is 2 inches here. That's 22. Okay, so to get the hip line from the waistline, you measure 8 inches. You can measure the hip line right from the waistline. To get the hip line, you can measure it from your waistline. But for this person is 8 inches. Okay, and for there are some people that uses 8.5, depending on how tall the person is. Okay, so this person is from the waist is 8 inches. So this is the 8 inches here. This is the skirt length. I measured it out 20 inches, and I added 2 inches as the hemming allowance. So on this waistline, we're going to measure our waist measurement. I told you for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using 30 inches as my waistline. See it here, 30 inches as my waistline, 36 inches as my hip measurement. 30 inches as my waist measurement, 36 inches as my hip measurement, and 20 inches as my skirt length. So we have to divide this 30 inches, which is measurement. 30 inches are waist measurement, so we're going to divide 30 inches by 4. When we divide by 4, we get 7.5. Then we divide our hip measurement by 4 also to get 9 inches. Do you get it? Okay, I'll come again. I told you earlier on, for the purpose of this tutorial, I'll be using 30 inches as my waist measurement. So for me to get the measurement on this pattern, I'll divide my waist measurement by 4, my hip measurement by 4. Okay, so I'll divide 30 inches by 4. I'll get 7.5. Then 36, which is my hip measurement, I will divide by 4 to get 9 inches. Okay, so this is my waist measurement, which is 7.5. So this is it here, 7.5. So we can add 2 inches or 1.5 inches as our sewing allowance, depending on how we want it. So this is the hip line. We're going to take our hip measurement. Our hip measurement is 36. When we divide by 4, we have 9. So we're going to mark out 9 inches here. So for this down end, we're going to subtract 1 inches from the 9 inches to get this to shape out. Now it's a pencil skirt we are drafting. So the next thing to do is to join the lines together. Remember I told you after drafting it out like this, after marking out the measurement, we can add 2 inches to it as our sewing allowance, and we can add 1 inch to it as our sewing allowance. But I'll be adding 1 inch to this as the sewing allowance. You can decide to draft out the pattern first before adding the allowance. When you draft it out and you're cutting it on the fabric, then you add the allowance to it, and you can add your allowance to the straight as you're cutting it. Okay, then I'll join the lines together. So this is it, guys. So the next thing to do is to cut it out. So I've already joined the lines together. These are waistline, the hip, these are hip line, and these are skirt length. So I've already marked out the pattern, so I'll have to cut it out. Okay. The next thing to do is to get our dart. So for us to get our dart, we measure 4 inches inward from the middle of the skirt. And remember, if you want to cut this pattern on your fabric, you have to your fabric have to be on fold. Okay, then you cut out the pattern on it. So you get 4 inches from the middle line. Then you come to this side, you measure 5 inches downward. Can you see? Then you measure 4 inches. 4 inches inward, then 5 inches from. Join the lines together. So this is where the 5 inches get to. So the next thing to do is to measure ½ inch inward, another ½ inch at the other side here. So you connect the lines to this 5 inches here. So this is the ½ inches. We have to hold it as a dart. We want to look like this. Like this. So these are that, guys. So the next thing to do is to cut out the back. You know, this is the front piece and this is the middle point. So we have to place it well. At this end, now there is our back. We are using the front piece to cut out the back piece. Okay, so at this middle end, we're going to add 2 inches to it as a zipper allowance. Okay, we have 2 inches to it as a zip allowance. Okay, It will also serve as a slit allowance. Okay, so you have to join the line. So guys, the only thing we need to do at the back is just to have the zipper allowance, the zip allowance. Okay, so all that measurements have been added to the front measurement. That is, we've measured the waist measurement, the hip and the skirt length on the front end, on front piece, which is this one. So the only thing we need to do to the back is to have the zipper allowance. So this is it. When we add it to it, we get our dart. This is the dart. So we also do the same thing to the back. Okay, once we do that to the back, we already have a complete skirt. Okay, so you have to cut this out, serving as our back piece. I told you earlier, we've already measured all the necessary measurements you need to do, measure out rather, on our front piece. So the only thing we need to do to the back is to measure out the zipper allowance, which we've already had it to this. This is it over here as our zipper allowance and our slit allowance. So this is it, guys. So this is back piece, and this is the allowance for zip. So we have to, when we cut out the fabric, we have to sew this end, this allowance. Then we'll add a zip to it, a zipper to it. Then we use this down part from the down end. We measure 7 inches upward to get our slit. Okay, so this end, this part is our slit, okay, the back slit. So guys, we've come to the end of tutorial. I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any question, you can drop it in the comment section. The question or any suggestion you have in the comment section, I will reply you as fast as I can. Thank you very much. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and also share, like the video. Thank you.